Hi, and welcome back to Military Law Talks. So today's video is about the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Is accountability coming for those generals who were in charge that should have known that pulling the military troops out before civilians would have a derelict effect? Well, I don't know. We'll see. But today's video is about that. And if you haven't seen my previous videos on this subject, I encourage you to watch those videos probably before you watch this video because it'll make a little bit more sense. And I will link those videos below. So those videos are linked. Check those out. Okay, so a couple of days ago, Pete Hegseth gave an interview and he gave some interesting information. So let's watch this video.
Here's one of the things people want to know. They want to know about Afghanistan, the disastrous withdrawal, and they want to know when there will be some measure of accountability.
Great question. We're all over it in our office. In fact, we'll have an announcement, I believe, tomorrow, if not later today, tomorrow or Wednesday, on the developments of our task force. We're moving, we're finding, we're investigating. It's going to take a little bit of time because there's a lot of things that need to be uncovered, classified aspects. We need to interviews that need to be conducted, but we found the right people to be involved. One of which actually is Stu Sheller, who's on our staff. He was the one guy fired for telling the truth about what happened in Afghanistan. He's now working in the Pentagon. That task force will be led by Sean Parnell, who's our Pentagon spokesman, great guy at the heart of it. So more to come on that, but it may take into 2026, if I'm being honest about it, to really uncover everything, but there will be accountability. We're committed to it. We will not leave a single stone.
Here's one of the things people want to know.
Okay, so if you haven't seen those earlier videos, I did an earlier video about Stu Sheller, the one person who asked for accountability after the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, and he eventually was court-martialed. And I covered that in earlier videos, and I also talked about his book that he wrote. And so he's gotten a job with the DoD. And I followed him on social media. It took him a bit to get all the security clearances and the background checks, but he is now working at the Pentagon. And so he posted about this clip that I just showed you. So he said, ironic that I will be investigating who will be held accountable for Afghanistan. Thank you, Pete Hegseth, for your leadership. General McKenzie. And now this is the senior leader that he called out in his social media post that eventually got him court-martialed. And so he was the head of all forces in Afghanistan prior to the withdrawal. So he says, General McKenzie, you went from 2,500 troops in Afghanistan in April to 650 in July, and then turned around and put 5,000 back in Kabul. You've said repeatedly that you personally believe that the Afghan government would fail if we didn't maintain a certain number of troops in the country. So why didn't you plan for an evacuation and leave enough troops on the ground to conduct it? And that's a quote from a representative when General McKenzie was testifying to Congress. And that is something that I played in an earlier video. And General McKenzie answered in that dialogue, and I'm going to fall back on the orders I was given, Representative General McKenzie. So again, no one really taking accountability, and that's what Stu Sheller asked for. And so then he also linked this DoD release, which we'll take a look at. Okay, so this is the link that he provided. This is a press release from the DoD discussing the another task force. So I don't think accountability is coming anytime soon. Pete Hegseth said in that clip it might not be until 2026, but it's a press release about essentially setting up yet another task force to discover the truth, but explaining that Stu Sheller is going to be essentially in charge, leading the effort to investigate. So probably the best man for the job. And then this is the DoD memo signed by Pete Hegseth setting up this review. And so it says that there's already been this review for the last 3 months, but directing Stu Sheller and Senior Advisor Sean Pinnell to convene a special review panel to thoroughly examine the previous investigations and ensure accountability. So we'll see, is accountability coming? Hopefully, but probably not anytime soon. So thanks for joining me in this video. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video out there. And like I said, if you haven't watched those previous videos, make sure you check out those videos as well. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video.